All right, good morning, everybody. What's going on? I read article yesterday. Boxing News 24 says that Eddie Hearn is claiming that he's going to have a site deal locked in by the end of the week. So that story was released yesterday. Where it's Wednesday right now. We're halfway through Wednesday, and I don't know. It seems like Eddie Hearn is just cutting it really close here. The story originally about this two fight deal between Joshua and Fury, one in the summertime, one later in the year, possibly fall, winter. Uh, that story was released on March 15th. According to Mark Kriegel, the contracts were signed on March 13th. And from that March 13th date, they had 30 days to get the deal done, to get the site fee nailed down, to get the date nailed down, to get the location nailed down, and for the money to be put up by whoever is going to finance this fight. Good morning, G Funky. What's going on, brother? So once again, 13th. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We're 19 days in. Okay, we're 19 days in. Still no movement. All we hear is just talk, and we're only hearing the talk from Eddie Hearn. We're not hearing much talk from Bob Arum, Frank Warren, or Tyson Fury. And the little that we have heard from Frank Warren, he's basically saying, why is this even out there yet? We weren't supposed to say anything until the information has already been confirmed, until the date, the site location, and the money was all wrapped up. We weren't supposed to say anything. So Eddie Hearn is doing a lot of talking. We have 11 days left. If we have a couple days left in this week. This week is half over. So supposedly he's supposed to be announcing something this week. But here's the thing, guys. I mean, the same situation with this Pacquiao Crawford thing. We've been hearing rumors about this for the last 2 years of a Pacquiao Crawford fight potentially happening. And there's just been no movement. So why even just release this information? Why do these promoters or these fighters or whoever is releasing this information, who's ever in the camp of these fighters, why did they continue to release this information? They continue to cry wolf. Why do they continue to do this? And every time, more often than not, when they do this, the fight never, ever ends up coming to fruition. There's only so many times you can cry wolf. And then people are wondering, well, B, why are you being so negative? Don't you want the fight to happen? Again, you cannot ignore circumstantial evidence, empirical data. You cannot ignore history. Eddie Hearn has done this before. He even went as far as saying that the Joshua Wilder fight was done, and when it was close to being done, and it was nowhere near being done. So I'm always skeptical when one side is talking and the other side is hush. I'm always skeptical when one side is so positive and the other side is somewhat pessimistic, or at least, at the very least, cautiously optimistic. There's still a lot of work to be done here. If this fight is going to happen in the summer, it seems as though they're going to have to really start hustling to get this thing nailed down, because tomorrow will be April. And if this fight is going to happen in June or July, there's no way it can happen in June at this point. If it's going to happen in July or August, even, so you got May, June, July, August, you only got a couple months. The fighters got to do press tours. They got to do press conferences. You got to throw this thing together. It just doesn't seem realistically possible. A fight of this magnitude in a couple weeks, or 6 to 8 weeks, is just going to be thrown together, and everything's just going to be nailed down. My experience following the sport of boxing, a fight of this magnitude, it just doesn't happen that easily. It usually takes 6 months to promote a fight of this magnitude, to do all of the proper promotion, to do all of the scheduling of the press conferences, the traveling, getting. Again, people think that this stuff is easy. It's not. It's just not. It's not a simple, easy thing. It's a process. And it doesn't look like there's enough time to get all this stuff done for this fight to happen in the summertime. Now, could it happen in the fall or winter? Possibly. But again, that interview that John Fury did last week with BT Sport, saying that, what did they actually sign? There's no, the money hasn't been put up. There's no date. There's no venue. There's no location. Again, I'm just getting sick of these types of headlines from all these boxing journalists. And Eddie Hearn himself is the one that's, these quotes are coming from Eddie Hearn, so he should know better. He was told to not say anything. So now, if this fight does not happen in July or August, then he opens himself up to a ton of criticism, and now his credibility comes into question. Once again, he'll be labeled the boy who cried wolf again. And the same thing is happening with this Crawford Pacquiao situation. Just because someone's in talks, I could say something like that. Oh, I'm gonna get in shape in 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, I'll be down to friggin' 160 pounds or whatever. Okay, that's just me talking. So all of a sudden, is that etched in stone that in 3 weeks I'm going to be 160 pounds? I just don't understand these journalists and even these boxing fans who are just so trusting and just so gullible whenever they hear somebody say something in the boxing circles. This is probably, boxing is a very, very how do I put this without saying it bluntly? Boxing is full of BS. Okay, there's a lot of shady behind the scenes behavior and actions that happen in the sport of boxing. There's a lot of untruths, shall we say. A lot of people in the sport of boxing lie, they exaggerate, they make up stories, they create rumors. And the boxing media and the boxing fans continue to fall for it time and time again. Time and time again. We're led to believe things are going to happen. Anyone can just put any statement out there they want. It doesn't matter. It could be anyone from the camp. It could be the guy who fetches coffee for the trainer and the fighters and whoever. It could be the guy who works at the Mayweather gym, who sweeps up the floor. He could say something, and automatically that can be labeled a source. So boxing journalists are too comfortable with the word source or sources say, and then they don't have to verify their source. And then what they can do is they can go and make the clickbait headline, clickbait title of an article, put sources say in front of it. And then when it doesn't happen, then they can turn around and say, oh, well, the source evidently gave me the wrong information. But how credible is your source? Unless you're hearing it from the promoter, the fighter himself, then how much weight does the actual story have? Now, Eddie Hearn is coming out and saying this, but here's the problem. Eddie Hearn is not the only one who's responsible for putting this fight together. There's a lot of moving parts here. Like I said, you got Frank Warren, you got Bob Arum. You have three promoters here working together. And one promoter seems to be walking to the beat of his own drum, and the other two promoters are on a totally different page. So unless we get all three promoters on the same page singing the same tune, then how confident should we be about the information that we're getting? It's an old saying that goes, when you're looking for sources to verify something, you should always get more than one source. These lazy journalists are getting one source, They're running with it, and they're not following up and trying to get other sources to verify what that one source has said. It's always good to get two sides to the story. Same thing with this Tyson Holyfield situation. Holyfield says the fight's not happening. Tyson says it is. So you got two sides there. Which one do you believe? Until you can have two sides saying the same thing, until Holyfield says that the fight's happening, until Tyson says that this fight is happening between the two of them, then we're really at a we're really in a dilemma on which one do we believe. Then it comes down to the, which guy do you like better? There's confirmation bias. So if people don't like Holyfield, they're going to say Holyfield's line. If they don't like Tyson, they're going to say Tyson's line. And this is what always happens, This is what always happens. And you have like fans will criticize one side, but they won't criticize the other side. And both sides are doing the same thing in a lot of situations. Okay, so people can sit there and criticize Crawford's resume, but then they'll defend Deontay Wilder's resume. So this whole thing about resumes, this whole thing about, who's ducking who, I don't really get involved in all that. I have my opinions. Do I think certain fighters avoid certain fighters? Possibly. There's a number of reasons why. Risk for reward, obviously. Of course, a fighter is going to always try to put himself in the best situation to make the most amount of money for the least amount of risk more often than not. That's just the nature of the beast. That's how most people are in life. No one's going to challenge themselves always unless they're forced to. I mean, that's not everybody, but the majority of the people, if they're given an easy way, if they're giving the path of least resistance, percentage-wise, more often than not, that's the path that's going to be taken. So we shouldn't act surprised. Obviously, you have a right to be upset about it. You're a paying customer. You buy if you're buying the fights. But then again, like I said earlier, if you're streaming fights, I hate to beat a dead horse, but if you're streaming fights and you don't buy pay-per-views and you're sitting there bitching about a fight being on pay-per-view, you're sitting there complaining about the price of a pay-per-view, and you're the one that's always streaming the fights, then again, how much credibility? How do you actually even have the right to argue or the right to complain? So at the end of the day, the clock once again is still ticking. We have not had an official announcement. All we have is promises, but we don't have any concrete news or material to report here. All we have is speculation. That's all we have is speculation. So I will always be cautiously optimistic. To me, I do not think this Pacquiao Crawford fight's going to happen, and I am highly skeptical that we're going to get a Joshua Fury fight in the summertime. I just don't see it happening. The timelines just don't add up. The timelines just don't add up. So, again, I will continue to be skeptical about the whole thing. I will continue to be skeptical about the whole thing. All right, guys. Not much else I could say here. It is what it is. Let's cross our fingers. Let's see what happens. But Eddie Hearn has cried wolf before. It's nothing personal, but again, I absolutely do not think that no low blow champ. I absolutely do not think that Crawford Pacquiao is going to happen. There's no incentive for Pacquiao to fight Crawford or Spence when he could fight an easier fight and make the same money, if not more. You're not going to sit there and tell me that Manny Pacquiao is going to make more money fighting Spence or Crawford than if he was to fight someone like Mikey Garcia. You're not going to convince me of that. And again, Manny Pacquiao, his legacy has already been it's already been solidified. There's nothing else this guy has to do. At this point, he's fighting for the money, which is fine. There's no incentive for Manny Pacquiao to fight the best anymore. He's an older guy. I get it. So all this talk and these rumors. First, he was supposed to be fighting Spence. He was at the Spence fight. Now he's supposed to be fighting Crawford. I mean, again, they're playing us. All this is, this is the blueprint. This is the playbook. When a fighter's got another fight, when a fighter is in the process of getting a fight nailed down, they throw all these big names out there just so people will start doing Google searches for that fighter and showing interest in that fighter. Okay, so now that fighter's getting all that press, getting all that attention. Okay, and then the fighter ends up fighting someone else, not the opponent that was originally thrown out there, not the rumored opponent. So they threw, Pacquiao's got 3 names out there. He's got Spence. Spence already is going to fight Ugas, so he's off the table. But he was throwing Spence's name out there for a little while. I actually went to Spence's fight. So now he's got Spence. Spence is gone. So now he's got Crawford, Mikey Garcia. They were even saying that he was going to fight McGregor. Again, like we got to learn, man. We got to learn. They're playing us. Social media has ruined boxing. It's ruined a lot of things. Social media has changed the landscape of how the world works now. So people take social media and they really abuse it. They use it to manipulate other people. So because of social media, a fighter can go on social media. Same thing, Devin Haney can sit there and make all these posts that have no real credibility behind them. And automatically, some gullible fans are going to believe it. They're going to run with it. Then you got these journalists who are going to write articles about it. And again, we just got to be smart. We got to look at history. These fighters these promoters, these people in the industry, all they're doing is trying to play us. They're just trying to get attention brought upon the fight or the fighters or their promotional company. This is it's pretty obvious what's going on. It's pretty obvious what's going on. Every time Devin Haney's got a fight coming up, what's he do? He throws shade on Lomachenko, tries to make it look like Lomachenko ducked him or whatever, and this and that, the third, and all the while he's fighting somebody else. So we already know what these guys are doing. Let's just be smart. Let's call it for what it is. These guys are playing us. Okay, so once again, Eddie has said he'll be visiting site bidders this week, so expect another announcement to let us know that it's nearly done. Again, who cares if it's nearly done? What does nearly done mean? If your child tells you, I'm almost done with my homework, you ask them on a Monday, and then you ask them on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and they continue to give you the same answer, I'm almost done. Well, they're really not almost done then. If they were almost done on Monday, then they would have been done with it on Tuesday. They wouldn't still be telling you they're almost done with it on Friday. So again, we have to use common sense. Just have to use common sense here. We have to use logic. So it is what it is. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you check me out every Sunday night with my partner, Eric Lauder, Ringside Reporter Podcast, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Sunday night. I'm not sure how we're going to do it this week with Easter, but we'll work something out. Also, you can check me out on D-Style's channel, D-Style Boxing, part of the Throwback Thursday Roundtable crew, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursdays with D-Style Boxing and the crew. Till next time, Beaver's out. Talk to y'all soon. Have a great day. Take care, and I will see you soon. Peace out, everybody.